Hi, my name is Scott Joseph. I am the director of The Elephant Man here at the Enter Stage Right. Well, when I was a kid, probably in the early 80s, the movie came out about 1980. About 1982, I had watched the movie on cable, probably back then, and basically just watched it and found that it was artistic and it was sad. It was a sad movie. And years later, I found the script at a bookstore, and then I was inspired to read the script from watching the movie and learn more about John Merrick. And after reading the script, I fell in love with it and realized that it's a pretty powerful script, and the story behind it's powerful. Words to describe this show. I would think it's sad, powerful, interesting. It's got I mean, there's so many words that could describe this play. It's just it's definitely very sad, and it's also uplifting because he doesn't allow himself to be brought down after all the trials and tribulations that he's gone through. Well, I think that our community should see this production because of the fact that it is extremely powerful in the message that it delivers, that somebody with a physical disability, just because he was disabled, doesn't make him no less human than anybody else. He is extremely intelligent, he was very artistic, and he lived a unfortunate short life. I mean, he didn't live past his 20s due to his condition. But I think that they could see that just because somebody's different on the outside doesn't mean that they're any different from anybody else on the inside. I think that a lot of people could get inspiration from learning about John Merrick and his, trials and tribulations, like I was saying before, about what he went through. Well, I think it's the visuals are very subtle. I think that technically, which is the way the show is done, that the person or actor that plays John Merrick is not put in makeup. It is up to the physicality of the actor to mimic what John Merrick was like back in the late 1800s, with his disability. We do take the artistic visuals of showing the pictures of him to show that this is what he really did look like. And our actor has to try to mimic what he looks like on screen, and it's artistic, and no makeup. So yeah, I think that right there is just very artistic and visual without all that makeup on, to be able to express his emotions and things like that, where he couldn't really do that in real life. Well, we've got a tub. We've got his desk where he actually builds a cathedral that he actually built with one hand, his good hand, his left arm and left hand, that we get to see him slowly build this model that he was known for, and very beautiful. I mean, it's actually, you can see it online. The picture of the model, it's on display in London at the London Hospital, I believe. But our set, it shows him that his bed, that he could never lay down because his head was so big that if he laid down, it would kill him. And so we get to see him briefly, on his bed, the way he sleeps. Our set is very simple, and that's the purpose of our set, to be able to show more of the actors and how they portray real life characters from the late 1800s, like Dr. Treves, Joseph Merrick, Gome, which was a real person, and Mrs. Kendall was a real person as well back then. She was, I think, a famous actress back in Victorian England. I wish that they actually put this in the script, but this is in the movie where it's partly in the script, where he's being chased down by bystanders in London when he gets back from being with his manager and he's left by himself. There is a scene in the movie, like I say, I wish it was in the script, where he's being chased down and he stops and yells at everybody that he is not an animal, he is a man, he is a human being. that to me is one of the things that has stuck with me since I was a child, because it's very powerful to let everybody know that just because he's different doesn't make him any different from anybody else, inside, outside, whatever. I wish that was in the script, because it represents a lot, I think. But there's a lot of little things that we do, a lot of little lines that say about him being, I mean, I can't really think of like a particular line because there's so much, but I think that the way that he is treated here, I think people will see, I hope that they get the correlation that just because he was pulled off the streets in a freak show, as they called it back then, that he technically is still considered that in this type of situation where he is on display. He is put on display for not so much people to pay money to see him, but the upper echelon of England at the time are here to pretty much try to be his friend. Were they really his friends? Hard to say. Adiago for strings. So, Adiago for strings, I've heard it. It's been used in other movies. It's very well known for being used in the movie Platoon. But it is a very powerful type of orchestral piece that I thought was very important. And it's sad. It's a sad piece. Funny thing is, I just found out that it actually is used in the movie. I didn't know that. So, and actually the same spot where I wanted to use this. So maybe subconsciously from back when I was a kid it came back, but for some reason it just seemed right. And that piece represents, I think, the sadness, because, I mean, I'm not going to give it away, but that piece, you can imagine that piece of music, what might happen next. And it's a strong piece of classical, well, kind of classical music, I guess it would be considered. So, yeah, it's a good piece. My favorite moment of the show is when they're trying to show John Merrick humanity, but he also shows that he's actually an extremely intelligent man. When he actually, I think my favorite piece is when he is breaking down Romeo and Juliet, and he's talking about how Romeo actually didn't do what he should have done in the play. He should have maybe not put a mirror up to her just because it seems like she was dead, but she wasn't. And it's in the show. I mean, I don't want to give it away, but in the show, basically, he talks about how he would have never done that as Romeo. He would have done it differently. And that shows a lot to his intelligence and depth of thinking, that he would actually want to put himself, and he was a romantic, so he would want to be Romeo. He wants to have his Juliet. So, and it's sad because, you know, nobody really wanted to be around him because of his you know, disability and what he looked like. And it's sad because he was a very nice person. From what I have read, obviously I never met him. But I think that everybody has worked extremely hard to bring these characters to life. As a director, I usually do character development, like a lot of us do, like Regina. And and we do a lot of character work, and this one, everybody just ran with it. Some people have multiple roles, and they all embrace those roles, and they've done a beautiful job of trying to bring this story to life. And I do think that they have. And, you know, I want people to feel, I mean, I'm going to say this, it's sad. I want people to feel sad. I want them to feel emotion for it. Feel for the gentleman that we're doing the story about. You know, it is a sad story. And I want people to understand that he didn't die in vain for what he did. He brought you know, people together, and he brought them understanding of what he was going through. Even though he was abused and he was treated horribly. You know, back in Victorian England, it was live or die. You know, and they saved him to some degree, I think. Brought back some of his humanity. Maybe not all of it, but most of it. Well, I think that I want people to leave here realizing that he was a real person, and that what he did I will say that some of the stuff in the script, of course, is taken by creative liberty, that not everything that's happened in this show really did happen. However, I would say probably 90% of what happened happened. You know, he was taken in by Dr. Treves into the London hospital. He was, given a home. He was treated like a person, a human, and that's what he wanted to be, just be a human. So I think if people leave here, realize that just because somebody's got a disability doesn't make them any different from anybody else. It doesn't. It really doesn't. And, you know, we need to get past all that, and I think that's one of these shows that really kind of thinks, like, makes you think. You walk out of here, you're probably not going to be happy when you walk out of here, but you might be happy about to know that he lived a somewhat decent life. And, you know, get out of here thinking that just because you have, you know, maybe not a disability, but there are other people that do. You know, treat them like you want to be treated. You know, so I think that I think that they should really leave here thinking that it's an uplifting show in a sad way. I want you to come see my show because I think that I do a lot of dramas here at ESR, and I think a lot of the dramas I put a lot of myself into those, and it's really hard. It's a lot of work for everybody, especially me as the director, because I push my actors. I really do. I push them to the point where they're sad. Even the other actors will cry when they watch the show. But I want you to come see the show because I think the message is important to the time that we're in right now. You know, it's an extremely important message. So come see the show. You know, if you've liked Cuckoo's Nest and you've liked Wait Until Dark, you know, please come see the show because I don't see it being any different in the way that we've done it, just different actors and a different story.